The biggest moments in sports are streaming live on Fox 1. From MLB to NFL, Big Noon Saturdays, and so much more. Fox 1 brings you the games, rivalries, and can't-miss moments all season long. And it doesn't stop at the final whistle. Catch highlights, expert analysis, interviews, and the stories behind the biggest moments in sports. Watch live or on demand, at home or on the go. Stream Fox Sports on Fox 1. Download the app today.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. The MLB at Field of Dreams returns. Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies face Byron Buxton and the Minnesota Twins at the iconic Field of Dreams ballpark. The field is calling. Watch the MLB at Field of Dreams game live on Netflix Thursday, August 13th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Christian Moore back to Jack Goodchild on the blue line. He manages to get it wide to Jacob Minter. Jack Goodchild with the shot, and the Slough Jets have taken the lead on the power play with 23 seconds remaining. And Jack Goodchild was Kane Russell with the shot cross goal. No need for the save from Lorne. And Campbell finds himself in, and it's 3-1 to the Johnson Chieftains. They have hit back quickly. Welcome to Zero Pucks Given, the UK Ice Hockey Podcast, hosted by me, Ben Hyde, and tonight it is just me. Caitlin's not feeling too well, but it's not going to be just me for the entire thing because we do have a very, very special guest. In fact, the first guest that we announced when we were coming back for ZPG 5.0, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome C. How you doing this evening, mate? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, really, really well. Yeah, kind of looking forward to getting stuck in now. I mean, as a new hockey fan, how have you found the off-season? Because like hockey fans they hate it because they miss the hockey, but they love the rumour mill and all the other stuff that flies around.
Well, I guess this is arguably my second season, so I guess that's still relatively new. To be honest, I'm very happy with the MK team. Very happy with the MK team. But apart from that, I don't really get involved with like all the rumour stuff, to be honest. I'm so busy. I don't have the time. I just don't have the time to sort of be on top of obviously creating content and running a business and all of that. I just don't. I kind of like scroll and I'm like, oh, okay. And then just keep scrolling most of the time. Unless like, I guess I have an investment. So like, for example, with Rio, when I found out he was going to Chelmsford.
Yeah.
For me, that was like oh my God, that was like a big, but otherwise, unless it's to do with MK, I kind of just scroll past a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? I have to be honest.
I suppose actually with like Learn to Play or with rec hockey and stuff like that, there isn't really an off season, is there? It's just, it goes on all the time.
Yeah. Although I am feeling the off season. Like I miss being up and watching Kraken and stuff like that. It's definitely finding things to do, which I find anyway, but finding stuff to do and not having my like, oh, tonight I'm going to be up watching Kraken, for example. Like I miss that. I can't wait till that comes back.
Yeah, to be fair, I always look forward to the start of the NHL season. As a Leafs fan, it always starts with so much hope, and then it's not long until it's all gone. But
you never know.
No, you do never know. I mean, I'm sure we actually discussed this when we met in Slough, actually, at the 4,000 and counting game. How did you land on Kraken as your team?
So my best friend lives in Seattle. So when I went to visit her in, must have been 2024? Yeah, it must have been 2024. This was like early on into me finding hockey actually, and I had a look, and I was like, oh, I wonder if there's any games on, because I went to visit her in April. It would have been April 2024. So the season would have been coming to an end, really. And, March, April time. And there was a Kraken game, so I went. And because it was like the first game I ever watched, and obviously I have ties there. Someone else actually that I ended up speaking to said, oh, it's kind of nice because they're a new team and you're kind of new to hockey, so that's also like a tie. I didn't really think that in the first place, but when they said it, I was like, yeah, actually, that's a good point. And then, I went to go watch my first game. It was Kraken versus the Oilers, and they won, I want to say either 6-1 or 5-1, which as my first game was incredible. I then went to watch another a couple of days after, and they lost. But for me, that was it, really. I was like, that kind of just, as if I wasn't hooked already, that just kind of like slammed it in. And then that's how I landed on the Kraken.
So there is like a drop-down list of criteria of what it takes to support an NHL team, and that's right at the top. Like actually going there and watching them, that's like the very top. It goes all the way down to just liking the colours as to why people choose.
I love the Kraken colours. The New Jerseys, like the dark with the black with the glow in the dark, like teal. Oh. Yeah,
the glow in the dark is fantastic, and to be
so
fair,
cool.
Kraken's my favourite drink, so they'll always have a little soft spot.
Well, maybe we can convert you. You never know.
But the NHL is always exciting as well. Like their off season is massive with all the rumour mills and the draft and stuff that goes on there, so that's always keeps it exciting. But so, when did you then decide actually I'm going to have a go at this game?
I'm sure I started playing before I went to America. I'm sure I had already played a bit because oh my God, that's such a good question. How did I start playing? I think when I went to, because it was sort of Lightning that kind of made me like go, oh, I like this. I'd seen Dynamo's games before, so technically it was the Dynamos that was the first ever game I watched in the UK. I went to go watch a guy that I was seeing, whatever, ref, and technically that was my first game, but I can't tell you who was playing, couldn't tell you. So technically my first proper game was Dynamos, where I went like off my own back, and then it was Lightning, and then it was a Lightning game when I walked in, and I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this. Because it's quite, obviously the MK rink is very alive compared to, a lot of the other leagues. It really is. And then, I think at that point, I then put a post out on Facebook, I think in the MK Lightning supporters group, saying, hey, I'm looking to play. Does anyone know of any teams or whatever? And then I got contacted by someone, and then I started with the Icebreakers.
Oh, cool.
That's how it all started. Yeah. I was skating a bit before then. I can't remember if I started playing and training with a team in Kent before then. It's kind of all a blur because everything happened so quickly. And it still is happening so quickly, to be honest.
So are you kind of split between Milton Keynes and Gillingham Way?
Yeah. I don't train it at Milton Keynes anymore because I left recently. I left the Icebreakers recently, but I'm split now currently between Kent, Oxford. I train with Blue Wings, RF Blue Wings, and then I recently I went out on a session with the Slough Scorpions. Oh, it's you. Yeah. I think that is near to you, right?
No, not particularly. No. Well,
why did I think? Oh no, so you're Chelmsford.
I'm Colchester, just past Chelmsford. But we met in Slough, didn't we, at the 4,000?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yes, and I really enjoyed it with them. So for me, it's just like, I'm all about trying to and the vibe of the team is so important for me. Like so important. Like I think it's actually a video idea that I have. Sort of one of the things that I think is important for people to know is really just really paying attention to how you feel around in certain teams, because it's such an intense sport. Like everything is just intense. So you want to have space where you feel accepted. You feel like you're not going to be made to feel silly or whatever else, because it's a hard sport. You're going to be falling. Can we swear on this?
Yeah, we're fine.
You're going to be eating shit a lot. So you want to be around people that are going to support you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think all the way through the sport, actually, that's so key, because you hear that certain teams, players that, might only last the season or not even last the whole season. And you think that, everyone on the ice has got this, level of ability, but if it's not right in the locker room, it's not going to be right on the ice.
No, because you feel it. Like, you feel, and you see my content. I'm all about, that hockey's helped me heal, and I've been on a real healing journey, and it's all about, if you feel awkward going out on that ice, it's just awful. It's awful. It's such an awful feeling, because you already know, especially unless you get out on that ice and you're shit hot, right? Which most people aren't going to be, right? Especially if they're new to the sport, whatever, you're just not going to be, And you already feel a bit conscious and stuff. At least I've been in this position. And you feel a bit conscious, and then you don't want to you want to be able to get off the ice and know that no one's going to have. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to just make you feel weird about it, or make you feel more conscious than you already do sometimes when you play this sport. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I think, to be perfectly honest, I've been involved in football a lot from a young age until it ruined my knees, and then I was involved in boxing, and then I've been involved in hockey from this side of being a fan, being independent media, having this little kind of, I've peeked through the double doors into the world of hockey as a fan. So seeing all that, it's a sport like no other, I actually think. Mm-hmm. The people that play it, how they behave around each other. And as you say, the comfort that it brings to everybody that plays the game. I think it's an incredibly unique sport where that's concerned.
Interesting. That's really interesting, because obviously we'll talk about the why I think hockey is different and stuff, but that's really interesting coming from someone who has been in the football world. Like I said, I don't want to jump ahead, but I know we're going to talk about this stuff, but that's good to know.
Yeah, well, because I've not played the game. I would have loved to have played the game when I was, a lot younger. But I don't think I could physically do it anymore. But I would have loved to play the game when I was younger, but I never got the opportunity to do so. So I think, considering I've never played the game, but having played team sports and then been involved in something as intense as boxing, which is a solo sport, but also technically a team sport, I do have a little insight into it. And I think just sport in general. That was, with chats I've had with other players, with Nicky Watt from 4000, with Nick Rothwell from Retry when he was on here, was that when I had to finish playing football due to injury, I didn't deal with it very well, and and I didn't miss football. I missed the changing room and the group and the camaraderie. And that's what I struggled with. I didn't struggle with missing the sport. I struggled with that. And I think that in hockey, that is a lot bigger in the sport, that side of it.
Yeah. Obviously I don't have so I played a bit of basketball at uni, but I've never really been part of and even then that was it doesn't count, but I've never really been part of it. So this is really new to me. Being in a team sport and stuff, and I'm quite old, so it's
I don't think you're as old as me.
I'm older now. So it's just for me, that in itself is a whole new thing. But I guess the only comparison I can have is with the basketball team, and I was a very small person back then anyway. But I don't know. But then I think hockey tends to attract a certain type of person as well.
Well, I think the size of the roster has also got something to do with that, because a football team, you might have 15 guys. Basketball team, you could have 10 maybe, because it's 5 a side. With a hockey roster, a full roster of coaches and players and everything, you've got 30, 40 people. And you've all got to get on. Otherwise, it can be difficult. So, and when one step that you actually made, which is, I think personally, is really, really rare, that you learnt to play the game, you into the game, And then you decided to do reffing, which I think is brilliant. If more people with a inner knowledge of the game reffed, I think the quality of refereeing would be a lot higher. Not that it's not. Yeah. I love the refs. But, you know, Team Zebra.
A lot of the refs that I know play. I think off the top of my head.
Yeah. I think a lot of the guys in the UK have been players in the past, at least at rec level and whatnot. You obviously have to have a certain level of skating ability to ref. So.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Although we all like seeing a ref fall over.
Oh my God, if that happens to me, I'll be mortified.
So how did that come about? Because I understand I'm not saying it's not that it's easy to do, but if anyone wants to referee, head to the Ice Hockey UK website. All the details are there. You can get on a course and get it done. And you just took that upon yourself to do it.
It's literally that easy. So I think for me, what attracts me to reffing very much is I think I describe it as a very strong sense of justice. I feel like, and this resonates with sort of my work and stuff as well, because I'm very to the point and very opinionated when it comes to dogs and how dogs should be treated. And I think I think I'm a very fair person. I think I'm very reasonable. I think also the way my brain works is I can understand both sides of the coin. I can hold multiple conflicting ideas and opinions or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess that's part of the reason. I love the sport. I literally love the sport. I just think it's incredible compared to other sports. I played a bit of football in primary school, but I just think it's just incredible. It's just great. And then I think for me, I do a lot of like pattern recognition with my job anyway. And ultimately, that's what reffing is. It's pattern recognition. You know, you're looking at where the puck is, where the skates are, where the players are. And I do a lot of that for my actual job because I have to recognise patterns in dogs, because if I intervene too late, if I intervene too early, you can have a dog fight. You can have a dog there then gets in a really bad situation. I have to watch ear flicks. I have to watch the way their nose moves. I have to watch where their weight is shifted. So it's a lot of like fine like analysis, I suppose, in a way. And then, I then sort of, I guess it kind of all just was a perfect storm of stuff, because then they put out a email saying that, we're doing a course up in Scotland, right at the top of Scotland. And I wanted to take my van on a long trip anyway, because she's hit 200k miles. So I was like, right, okay. So I went, and I stopped up in Edinburgh for a couple of nights, which is another thing I wanted to do. I've always wanted to go to Edinburgh. So for me, I'm a very impulsive person. So, and obviously my window into the world of hockey properly was obviously I went to go watch this guy ref, and whilst I don't really speak to him anymore, I just felt this like, I found I was inspired, if anything. And then, I wanted to now, I'm a ref.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. But anyone can sign up to a course and give it a go. Anyone.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do understand that without the refs, we don't have a game. But the understanding to the point of it, at some point we're going to need new ones, because, I think Braden Evans is 405, and there's, guys that are coming in behind him who've been reffing for a really long time, and it's, as I said, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm pretty sure fans are going to be 90% to 10% that wouldn't do it. Despite understanding the game, knowing the game, and enjoying the game, they just wouldn't referee it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of like, you're putting yourself out there to be scrutinized and to be, whatever else. So it's not. I've only done rec, so I couldn't. And like, even I find that sometimes really overwhelming. Like, and there's been times where I've definitely found it overwhelming and I've had a massive brain fart because your brain is doing a lot at the same time. And like, I mean, I'm used to my brain doing a lot of things, but then when you're trying to focus a brain that does a lot on certain things, or at least this is how I've experienced it. Your brain can almost go, it's like a scribble sometimes. Like, you're focusing so hard and then it just,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Am I making sense?
Yeah, no, I think I understand that it's almost like an overfocus that you perhaps actually can't see what's right in front of you because you're because you're focused on there, which kind of leads into people thinking that referees don't see things because honestly, they're over-focused.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because over-focus is a good way of putting it, actually. So I was doing some practice. So I was down in Kent the other day, and I was doing some practice because I'm going to Bulgaria in September. So rest. I ref and play, but I wanted to get some practice in. And where I was stood, it looked like a goal went in. So I called the goal. It was just a playful scrim. Like, I know these guys, we're all buddy, whatever. So it wasn't really serious. But I called the goal because it looked like it went in. Because from where I stood, it looked like it went in. But it went off the crossbar.
Oh.
Yeah. So obviously it's making sure, and obviously I'm new and stuff. You're going to make mistakes, and I've made some mistakes that I'm just like, what were you doing? But I think it's like, again, it's that over focus. You're focusing so hard that like you're almost trying to catch yourself before there's anything to catch. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Which kind of leans into you sort of recognizing patterns and perhaps preempting something that might happen. Yeah.
Bear with me, so my phone is literally about to die. Is that okay? Can I just go quickly grab my charger?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'll pop a flag in there so I can just edit.
What's that?
I can pop a flag in so that I can edit.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. It's one second.
And then, so from the refereeing and the playing and then into the sport, what we'll do is we'll after this we'll get onto your social media and your kind of almost your role as like a little bit of a social media influencer from within the sport and then into your personal life as well. But I really, really want to talk about this study that you're doing into hockey.
Yeah.
Did this come from, I mean, I'm assuming you studied something similar at university where you've got these sort of letters after your name and titles and stuff that would enable you to have an understanding in this study. So please tell me what it's about, what you're looking to prove, if anything, and where people can find it.
Okay, so at the moment it's like it's still in phase 1. I need to see, because I want to get 500 responses, so I put out a survey basically just asking people if they play the sport, do they have a neurodevelopmental condition, which is ADHD, Asperger's, autism, any of those, or if they suspected that they might have one, right? Now, my background is, my letters is, I've got a bachelor's in animal biology and conservation, I've got a master's in animal behaviour management, and I've got a PGC in secondary science. So, my background is ultimately psychology, psychology, behaviour, whatever else. And through my observations, I suppose, being in these locker rooms, it's ADHD everywhere, if I'm being honest. It's just everywhere. But the thing is, it's just like, but then I think the way that the sport is, it's very physical. It's very much it's a very, very high action sport. Like, I think most people when I turn and do ice, they're like, what? Because obviously it's such a high intense sport. And I think the way the sport is, the way your brain is doing a lot, the fact that you're on ice and you can slip and it's scary and all of that, I think a certain type of brain is attracted to the sport. So my sort of hypothesis is that I suspect that ice hockey compared to other sports attracts neurodivergent people.
Yeah.
Or attract more neurodivergent people. So at the moment, it's on phase 1. Phase 1 will probably be finishing very quickly because I've nearly got all the responses I need. It was crazy, actually. I wasn't expecting it to get so many responses, but it got, when did I release it? Maybe like a week or two ago? I'm nearly at 500 people, so I'm going to cut it there. Then basically phase 2 will be me asking the same question, but it will be to football players.
Okay.
Because I want to be able to get a comparative. And see, so for example, at the moment, from when I last looked at the sort of the survey responses, is that there is a high percentage of people who are either neurodiverse or suspect they might be within the sample size. So my plan is to do the same for football. Now, obviously, if it's the same for football, then I'll probably just, I suppose not really. There's not, well, I mean, it's science because then you can look at other stuff, but I basically want to see if I ask the same question to football people, whether I get the same percentage of people who either think they are or actually are within that sport. If there is a big enough difference between the two, then where I would like to take it is, then I would like to propose to do a PhD, and then I would like to look into potentially following like a set of school kids, children, if they maybe start up the sport for a season and see if that positively affects them in their school life or whatever, for whatever reason. Because I know, like my mum said it, and she was like, hockey saved you. And I think to some extent it did, because I didn't realise what was missing from my life until I started the sport, to be honest with you.
Mm.
And I think it has put me, now I suspect I am neurodiverse. I'm not diagnosed, but I suspect I am. And it put me around a lot of people who, for whatever reason, the energy is just there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's it in a nutshell. If it gets to PhD stage, great. If it doesn't, but I like pulling at threads. I'm impulsive. So I'm going to pull at the thread as far as I can pull it. And you never know, because the thing is if, exploring all the potential possibilities of where it could go in my head. If it does go the full hog and there is, positive things that come from the study, the potential PhD or whatever, it could help a lot of neurodivergent kids.
Yeah, I think I really like the view of it being the help of it, because it's completely undeniable, as you say, that the idea of the sport, which you can have contact sports, non-contact sports. Hockey is a collision sport. It's above a contact sport. And the fact that could actually help someone who is experiencing some kind of neurodivergency, which I know when we spoke in Slough, I am very old school. I'm very black and white. A lot of it I don't understand, not because I refuse to. I'm just old school. So, and if there's, my wife thinks I've got some sort of Asperger's tic, almost like a Tourette's.
Okay.
I make weird noises for no reason and things like that.
Yeah.
Out of my control. So I'm not a denier that all of this stuff is real, because it undoubtedly is. It just wasn't spoke about in the early 90s. It was. I think everyone was just considered naughty if there was that kind of issues with children. So the fact that that this study could actually go on to prove that not only is getting into hockey going to help them, but it could also help them fight, like, just with their potential issues that they're having. But then the other side of it is what we spoke about right at the beginning, is that this is not only going to help a neurodivergent condition that they may or may not have, it's actually going to improve their life.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. And I think just the way, especially ADHD brains are wired. I can't say for autism and stuff like that, but it's dopamine, and the way the sport is, it's just a big dopamine hit, because you're doing so much, and like the thing is, people with ADHD and stuff like that can be more prone to stuff like addiction and whatever else, because their brain craves the dopamine. So if it's a way that these people can get those hits without resorting to something that's harmful, I mean, it could be argued that hockey is harmful, but you know what I mean? And again, it's just my brain is just making these connections, and honestly, what sort of sparked the idea? Because I always thought my PhD would be in dogs, but I was sat at home on an evening, and it just hit. When I say it hit me. Like the idea just went wham in my head, and then that same night I made the survey, and I recorded the video about people joining the survey.
Wow.
But I don't like to waste time.
But I think there's something in it. I think I'll predict actually that I think you will find a massive difference between hockey players and football players. And then I think you'll also probably find a massive difference if you speak to boxers or to golf players. Mm-hmm. There's a massive difference, because there's always been a little bit of, I wouldn't even know what word to describe it. We used to call it sadistic in boxing, that occasionally for people that start it, particularly people that start it quite late. I was 30 when I started, so that was quite late. Yeah. Your brain is kind of triggered with fear when you're older. Yep. Rather than when you're younger. So I think from what I saw of a lot of people that started boxing, and particularly probably hockey as well, when they were like in their 8, 9, 10 years old, there's no fear. And then they can carry on going through their life like that. Whereas at 30, I walked into the boxing gym thinking, I don't know what it's like to be punched in the face. Yeah. And the thought of it is worse than it actually happening. And the first time that I took a really heavy punch and took it, and all of a sudden I started to enjoy it. And that's the sadistic part. And my coach is saying there's very few people that actually love it. Like they love punching the other on the face.
That's interesting. Oh, those got my brain going now. That's really interesting. I mean, I can't say for boxing, because boxing is like, I suppose boxing is different from ice hockey, because in ice hockey, check-in and stuff is, is part of the game, whatever. Whereas boxing is, you are literally going to get hit.
Yeah.
That's what, that's arguably another level above in terms of the risk, I guess, of hockey.
Well, I mean, it's something that I've always, as a boxing fan, and particularly because I was involved as a fighter and also as a coach as well, they never mention it. When they talk about the head injuries and the concussions, they talk about rugby, they talk about American football, they talk about football with heading the ball, and they talk about hockey, and they never, ever mention boxing. And I find it so strange, but I think it's because if they do ever mention it in that breath, the sport will die, because sparring is such an enormous part of the sport. Yeah. Like they've banned kids heading the ball in training now at football until they're 16. I think, or maybe even 18.
Is that the same for boxing?
No.
Ow.
You pop the head guard on, you put the big gloves on, and everyone's still hitting each other in the head. And in fact, as someone who's done both, you are more likely to take a heavy shot with a head guard on because you've got this psychological protection.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And there's a lot of it, I think, that's linked with sports that are like this, which is, I think, I'm really, really excited to see the outcome of what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, once I get on to phase 2, which will obviously be getting the football people in, and then comparing the 2 pilot surveys, then that'll tell me everything. But the last time I checked the pilot survey for the first phase, which obviously ice hockey players, it was 40% had 40% out of the respondents had a had neurodivergent, were neurodivergent. And then a further 40% thought they did. That's 80%. That is a high percentage. That's huge. So obviously, if I then do the same for football, ask the exact same question, same format, everything, try and keep it same as same as possible. And then say, for example, it shows up as 40% in football. That's a big difference. Mm. And from what I've observed of football players, I just don't think there's as much neurodivergence from football players. From the football players I know and have observed, I don't see it amongst football players as much as I've seen at hockey players. That's biased because I've mostly been around hockey players, but my job is watching behaviour. I've been around enough football players when I spend time in pubs. And it's just different. They're just different. So yeah, I'm excited. Once it hits onto phase 2, I think that's when the real sort of truth will out, I guess, at least in terms of the respondents I get. It's a lot more that obviously comes with doing a study and all of that. But yeah, it's exciting.
It is very, very exciting. Yeah. So the study then that you'll be, as you said, you're coming into the end of phase 1 of it now. I come across it on. Oh,
sorry. Oh my goodness. Jesus Christ.
You would not be surprised. That's not the first time that's happened on this podcast. For those of you joining us on YouTube, the phone just went when we saw the scene.
Yeah. Oh, annoying. Sorry about that. Right. Sorry.
So the study we came across on your social media, which is where we came across you, because you kind of burst onto the Instagram hockey scene in the UK with your videos of you learning to play, the reffing, and your point of view opinion videos, which every time that I see one, I can't scroll past it. I have to listen to what you're saying.
Thank you.
So like, what? I mean, I don't know. I don't think I could label myself as an influencer. I don't think I probably can put that on myself. But
I wouldn't label myself as that either.
Would you not? How would you pigeonhole yourself with it?
I'm just me.
Yeah.
I'm just me. Like, I don't. I mean, I think my relationship with social media is like I've sat with this in my head a lot, because a lot of people, I find putting myself out there on the internet arguably safer than in person, which probably sounds crazy to most people, but I was like I don't know if you know what MMORPG is. Massively multiplayer online role-playing game.
Oh.
So I spent a lot of my teens online. Yeah. That's how I made friends. That's how I made whatever. Because I was, again, I think I'm neurodivergent. So I think I was, and there's other stuff as well, because I went from if you really want to get deep, I went from a school in East London in Stepney, Tower Hamlets way, to a school in Kent. And, if we want to touch on race and stuff like that, because I think it's important, for me, that was a big change. Like, I went from a school where I wasn't the minority to the minority, and that was the first time I started to see race. And then what happened is, because I was not popular in school, any of that, I think I was a neurodivergent kid. I got on very well with my teachers, not so much students, because I was just, I don't know, maybe I just didn't get social cues, who bloody knows, right? But I spent a lot of my time online. So for me, online arguably feels safer. So I guess I just started putting myself out there. I mean, I do with my business anyway, but obviously with business stuff, it's very different. It's very different. I'm talking about dogs, I'm talking about whatever. You'll probably hear the puppy in the background. And yeah, I just started putting myself out there. I wanted to, because originally my business account was a mix. So I was doing a hybrid where I shared my personal, but it just didn't feel it didn't feel right that I was sharing my personal stuff there, because sometimes I like to separate. I like to separate it. I don't want to just be dog train or whatever else, and then it meant that I had to be really careful about other certain bits of content, because ultimately I want people to pay me. And, I don't want to water down, I guess, the business side of stuff. So I split the accounts, basically. Long story short, I split the accounts. And then, I guess I just started putting stuff out there in terms of, tracking I don't do that so much now because I haven't been out for a solo skate for ages, but I've started obviously tracking my, me getting into the world of hockey, me learning to skate. And then, it just kind of, I don't really know how or why or when or what, but it just kind of blew up, I guess. And then it just kept growing. I mean, I still wouldn't say I've got a lot of followers. I really 2,600. I don't think that's a lot personally, but I think because obviously hockey's so niche, whenever I go, even when I was at the 4,000 pucks and counting, isn't it? I had a woman,
just 4,000 and counting.
4,000 counting, sorry.
Yeah.
I had a woman come up and say, "Oh my God, I love your videos. I see your TikTok." Now, I get that all the time. Not all the time, but I get it at least once.
When you're at rinks?
Right, if I'm at a rink, I get it at least once. I remember I turned up because I was playing in a Blue Wings game, and the opposing teams, they were like, "Oh, the famous one's here," and I was like, I don't really see it like that, to be honest. But I guess because it is so niche, people who are in it are seeing my face. Sometimes that can feel really uncomfortable, but, I'm very thankful. I'm very honoured. I'm very thankful. Obviously, I'm going to Bulgaria in September, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And again, like I said, I mentioned this earlier, I like putting it fresh. So as soon as it started to grow, I was like, right, okay then.
Because it is a funny thing, isn't it? Because it's something that, as you say, describing, the way that you were growing up and playing online role player games, which is, you would probably be able to word it better as a psychologist, that's almost like masking yourself. So to then be where you are now, where you're actually saying, this is me and I'm out there, that's like a massive flip reverse for you, I think.
Yeah. Wow. That's going to sit with me later when I'm thinking. Yeah. And the thing is oh my God, I mean this, how big you want to get, but it's weird because it's almost like my online space it's almost been like a positive feedback loop, and Hockey Brick comes into that as well, because in these hockey environments, I've been a lot more myself, because I think I'm around people who are a lot like me.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not formally diagnosed or anything, but I've had multiple people who are themselves diagnosed, who, have children who are diagnosed, who are like, we noticed quite quickly that you're probably, I think I'm autistic, to be honest. I think I've got both. I think I'm autistic and I've got ADHD. But what was I going with that? I say ADHD brain, because the first idea has just gone out of my head. Going back to what you're saying about masking, I've been around, so being in these hockey environments, I've been around people who are, I guess, like me, which has then created a positive feedback loop, because then, especially because obviously my account was growing hockey-wise, that then allowed me to sort of unmask and be myself more, because I suppose I'm in this niche world now.
Yeah.
So then obviously that's then me being made to feel like I can be myself within the hockey world has then meant that I can feel like I can be that online a bit more. And I mean, I've always been me. I've always been me, but there's definitely been times where I've masked and stuff. Arguably, I'd say when I first started on MMOs, that was me not masking, because you don't have to mask online because you're behind. You don't have to, because you're behind an avatar, really. But then, hockey has allowed me to be more me, which has then come out on my social media. which has then where it's grown has like positively reinforced me being me.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in like a bit of a transition at the moment because the reason why I started my account was it was a place to be me. Now I think the hockey has arguably overtaken that a bit too much because I don't want to put myself in a box because my account is my account to share whatever the hell I want to share. And I don't want it to be just hockey because that's not, because then basically there's another business account at that point because it's, you know, it then would become just hockey and I don't want to do that. But yeah, it's funny because the posts where I am more expressive and just like I've just randomly recorded and I'm like really in the moment and really feeling it tend to do quite well because I think a lot of people and I've had this said to me by people on my business account and stuff. A lot of people just aren't authentic. Like a lot of people just don't. You know, I say all the time. I think that's why I like festival environments because everyone's off it and everyone's completely themselves because they're intoxicated, right? Like, and I think that's why I like those environments because no one has a mask. No one has a mask.
Yeah.
So, and I'm such a expressive. I think. Oh, for goodness sake, not again. I think I'm a very expressive person. I think I'm have been told that I'm too honest, which I don't really think is a thing personally, but hey ho.
I agree. I don't think there's such a thing as being too honest.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, actually. And the more honest you are, the more people resonate with you or they don't. Now, again, this is why the account's really nice because obviously I've been myself on this account and it's grown. It's grown and it's growing. So, yeah, it's just, but yeah, like the whole influencer, like even the term content creator, I hate it. I hate it.
Well, do you
because
think
I'm just me. I mean, I guess, yeah, if you're looking at it, you know, bluntly, yeah, I guess I am just creating content, but I'm just creating stuff out there. And like, for me, I like connecting with people and I am, you know, I'm not someone who's trying to be liked by everyone. I don't think I've ever been like that. I've never been like that, actually. And I think for me, I really like connecting with people. And like when I say connecting with people, you know when you sort of meet someone and you're just like, whoa, this person feels like safe and this person feels whatever. I've not had that much, sadly, but I'm hoping that with the account that I will just attract more people who are authentic and whatever else, because otherwise, you know, it just what's the best way to describe it? It just opens up your opportunities. Me putting myself out there to however many people are on the internet. It's a game of numbers, isn't it? So if I put myself out there, I'm going to open myself up to more opportunities, more connection, more whatever. So that's kind of where I'm coming at it from, if that makes sense.
And opportunities-wise, you've had a couple of opportunities to collaborate with NHL Europe as well on social media.
Yeah. So the first one came really early. I mean, I can't remember how many followers I had on Instagram at that point, but they contacted me through TikTok. I only had 86 followers. Which is crazy. Yeah. But they found me and they messaged me and they were just like, what did they say? What's the first email? It was just collab. It wasn't paid for, but I didn't care about that. I don't care. And it was just putting stuff out there because they were putting on, that was it. They were putting on primetime games for the UK because they're trying to get a bit more into the UK market.
Yeah.
So they were doing Saturday and Sunday games at, you know, decent times in the UK, and I was putting videos out about that. That's where most of my growth came, actually, now that I remember. And then, they contacted me again. When was this? During the Stanley Cup Finals. Put stuff out about that, which they were sharing to their stories and whatever else. But yeah, like I remember, because I didn't really go on my TikTok. So, because for me, I prefer Instagram. I always have done. And I remember I just loaded into the app one day and I was like, oh, I've got a message, just thinking it was going to be some random, I'm sure you get messages all the time, random, no, I don't want to say crap, that's not the right word, but random, just like, meh. And then I saw NHL Europe and I was like, huh? And I remember I clicked on it and I was just like, what the fuck? Again, I only had 86 followers, so I was like, what the hell? And then, I think that was probably the turning point. I think I recorded the video and was like, by the way, I've been contacted by NHL. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. But I think that for me was a big positive reinforcement because obviously at this point I was arguably putting myself out there a lot more. I think I have, and that's something I want to address, there's been a bit of a fear of being seen, I think, recently with me, which has kind of made me step back a bit. But I don't want to do that because then being authentic is really important. It's really important to me. So I'm still me, but at that point I remember I put a video out of, what was it? There was a video where I was watching some sort of game or whatever, and I can literally picture the video, and it was just pure me being me, right? And obviously when NHL contacted me, it was just like, okay, well, there must be something about me that they like.
Yeah.
And then, and then here we are.
I think the positive reinforcement thing is almost like it's almost accidental because you don't actually consider that when you first start, do you? It was the same for me when I first started the podcast. I never actually thought, what if people listen to it? And then originally it was all audio only. And then when it became video, I was like, oh, yeah, but now people know what I look like and they know who I am. And the first time I got stopped at a rink, it was so weird. It blew my mind. What
did you think when you were stopped at the rink? Like, what was your first thought?
I was dumbfounded. I couldn't actually speak.
Yeah.
Considering I do this, it was odd that I couldn't speak. But it was it's become a little bit more normal now. I've had a couple of selfies, which I did find really weird, but it's still all good fun. But it's that part of like you actually feel like what you're doing, because as me and Kate would say all the time, content creating at any level is time consuming.
Oh my God.
Really time consuming. So the fact that people appreciate that does make it all worthwhile. And it would all be lovely if we could all be Mr. Beast or whatever and earn hundreds of millions of pounds from doing it. Just doing it for the fun of it is fantastic when you get that positive reinforcement.
100%. And like, it's just, and especially because sometimes I talk about stuff and it's probably going to be the way my account's going to be moving a little bit more in talking about stuff that, has happened to me, experiences I've had, because there are times where I've had people message me and say, what you talk about makes me feel less alone. And you know what? That is why I do what I do. That is why I put myself out there because, especially because I would class myself as a very successful woman. So, but, I've always been one on also sharing the negative stuff, sharing the stuff when you're down, sharing the stuff when you're that, because there are some people who, and a lot of people hate social media and stuff, but I share a different view because there are a lot of people who social media makes them feel connected to people. Or because for whatever reason they don't get that otherwise, or they can't get that otherwise, or whatever else, So I think for me at the core, I'm a teacher. I am a teacher through and through. I want to. It's not about dogs, it's about life, it's about hockey, it's about whatever. I think I I literally recorded a video about this today. Oh my God. About just, I like people who have malleable brains, people who are willing to take on new ideas, people who are willing to consider someone else's point of view and go, actually, maybe I do feel differently about this, or maybe I do think differently about this, or whatever else. Like, I'm just, and again, like I said, it's about finding those people and connecting with them, but I tend to find that those people are kind of few and far between, to be honest. So, yeah.
Excellent. Well, I mean, we want you to keep up doing what you're doing, because, like I say, every time I see your stuff in the feed, I always have a little listen to it, because, for one, I actually never know what it's going to be about. It could be about dogs, it could be about hockey, it could be about something completely, different. So, and I think for you to have put yourself out there in that way, and obviously had this connection with the hockey fraternity in the UK, being part of it yourself, of course, as a player and a ref and a fan. It's just been terrific. So drop your tags where everyone can find you.
Tags? Well, it's some people say think it's my handles. Okay, so I've had a couple of people say to me that they think my name's It's Ice Bruv. It's not It's Ice Bruv. It's C Bruv. It's C Bruv. So
it's a definite Mandela effect. Your handle is a Mandela effect.
I was say, I thought it was It's Ice Bruv, which, to be fair, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, at a glance, it does.
But it's C Bruv. It's 2 V's on TikTok. And then that's where people can find me.
Excellent. And so what we'll do, we'll keep up to date with everything that's going on your socials, and hopefully at some point across the season, either me or Caitlin will catch up with you at a game. There will be
for sure.
And see how you're all going. So thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And it was great to meet you in Slough as well, when you kind of, as you said, you're impulsive. You saw that we were there. You literally turned around on the motorway and come and watch some hockey.
Yeah, literally. I'm so glad we met. We met beforehand, and I mean, like, as soon as we started talking, I was like, "This podcast, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine."
We do. We feel both Caitlin and I actually. We do feel very proud about that. That it's we tend to make people feel at ease very quickly.
Yeah.
Which is we're very happy about.
Sure.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.